Welcome in, everybody. Whether you're watching now or after this live, I'll start off by saying a few things. The way the market is moving up right now, and the way that Trump and the way that the news is pushing out like that, we've come to this peace talk and all this, it feels like they're pushing awfully hard to try to force some action here in the market, and it makes me uncomfortable. The biggest reason it makes me uncomfortable is there's simply not a lot of volume to dictate this kind of a push. Like, if we're going to get some real follow through here, there's a real reason why. Like, even though Bitcoin's at 107,000, almost 500, look at Algo, down almost 3% on the day. You've got XRP still not able to hold that 220 level for whatever reason. Ethereum's down 1.12%. Bitcoin dominance is close to up 0.75%. At least 2/3 of 1%. And to me, this looks like a classic example of let's trap the uneducated or the less experienced retail trader, push it up, make the market look good, have some good headlines, but I don't know how high this goes. There is a chance it can hit 110. There's a chance we could just run up, but if we run up here and finish off this move to 125, I kind of feel like it could be the end of the cycle. Like, that's one of the problems I'm having here. If we actually do run out of here, does that just mean the cycle's about to end? Since we didn't come down to, refill the CME at 91,500. For the fact that we didn't come back down, ultimately, and back test the cup and handle breakout by Bitcoin, does that mean, like, maybe you get to 115 or 113 and then it just kind of comes up to the top of what could be a rising what? I don't know. So there's things that I see that I know would make this better, would help us to get a little more sustainability or a little bit of, at least a little bit more confidence on the way up. And there's been opportunities, but Bitcoin needs to, and not just, it's not Bitcoin particularly. The alt tokens are what I'm more concerned about. Like, Bitcoin kind of does its own thing. You get all these people putting in all this money. And it's not natural. It's almost like the trading bots are going unhinged right now, and they're not allowing sells as much as they're allowing these micro buys. And it always whenever this happens, it always makes me uneasy. Like, for a few days, I'm like, yeah, whatever, we can ride this up. And I even told some in the Telegram a couple days ago, you have to watch the I think the highest I said in the Telegram, I don't remember if we talked about the 108,800. I know we talked about 106,800 because some were trying to go short yesterday. I feel like we talked about the 108,000 level. I can't remember, though, because my power went out yesterday. If you're wondering why we didn't do a live, I had no power yesterday. We had a pretty significant storm. Like, it wasn't like a crazy, like, rain event for hours and hours. It only rained hard for about an hour or two, but the wind got so extreme that it just, I don't know, there was some kind of wind damage on one of the power lines. And unfortunately, I was in the, so there was no way to, even if because I could power up my tablet and stuff, but I couldn't connect to a suitable internet. So if Julie's would have run fast enough, or if the, what I was able to use without my Wi-Fi, through my actual high speed, it wouldn't have worked. So, it was one of those things. One article mentioned a Bitcoin high of 165K, and it's like you keep saying the volume just isn't there. And the volume could come in. Like, if we see a surge of volume, I'll be excited. And I've been saying this for a long time. If we can just get that surge of volume, oh, look at that. I go live just now, and you know what alert comes out? My 60-second short. It just shared my 60-second short when I go live. That's funny. But I wasn't even able to like my own live, so that was kind of interesting. It had no like button on my live today. Aaron Reynolds, welcoming along with the Fine Group. Thank you both for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Nick Morales, good afternoon, sir, and I'm glad to see you in here. You have a lot of information that you can share, especially when you see all the differing opinions or questions in the audience. You can help us stay on the same page and the right track. UK Phil, welcoming along with Mark Cass, and thank you both for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. And UK Phil, I'm telling you, one day we're going to end up getting back on Fortnite. You know, maybe it'll be next season when it's, when we have a reason, but we'll get back there one day. I know it. Stephen G and Alec Tony, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty Hours Crypto News. Yeah, it was going to be a little rougher tonight at 6 o'clock because I have to leave tomorrow to go to Grand Rapids for my son's button change. Last time, you guys know, he was sick and stuff, so we were up there, blah, blah, blah. So we have to go up tomorrow. His appointment's Friday morning, but I'm going to stay up there till Sunday so he can spend a little vacay. We're going to go do some stuff out there for him. You know, like good, fun kid stuff. Mainly, he wants to like go on different kind of swings, and he likes the water parks, or like the watering, not parks, but like the, I don't know what you call them, splash pads and stuff. So, I got a travel day tomorrow, but I'm still gonna do stuff in the morning and at night probably. Stephen G, yes, I love doing it. I mean, the lunchtime seemed pretty nice. It just seemed like the right time. I was talking a lot in Telegram, and I'm like, I might as well just do it now, because we're at that kind of break point here to where we're gonna have to do one of two things here. It's like it can continue to artificially go up. Look at the key fact today. Michael Saylor's company holds 592,345 Bitcoin, worth over 63 billion, with a 50.92% of unrealized gain. Recently, they added over 16,000 Bitcoin, including 10,100 Bitcoin last week. Let me ask you a question. If you were holding 509, I'm just being honest. If you're holding 592,000 Bitcoin and you were up 50.9% and you just bought 16,000 more or 10,000 more last week, would you feel good if you were up 50.9% but you held over almost 600,000 Bitcoin yourself? How would you feel if you were trying to cash that out at only a 50% unrealized gain? I don't know. I wouldn't be feeling so good. Like if I was up 50% on XRP and I held 6 billion tokens, or 10 billion tokens, I don't know. No, it'd be more like 6 billion. I don't know. It'd be interesting. Because in the moment we had a 30% drop, I'd be sweating my balls off. I'll be honest. I'd just be sweating balls. Zachary, Campbell Vision, Burn Everything, welcome in. Appreciate you tuning in. It means a lot to me. The whole community, it means a lot to me. Really, really does. We've something special here with everybody. It's nice. More than I could have ever envisioned, but what I've always dreamed. CJ2 Pilot, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So badge. Mr. Towley, welcome in. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. DML, good evening, or good afternoon, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And that is my face superimposed on that emoji badge. He's from the UK. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's all James' fault, I know. If he would just buy a big portion of, if he would just drop like 5K on Bitcoin, it's guaranteed to go down at least 12%. I just have that feeling. He just needs to take one for the team. If you're watching, Mr. Dula, just buy some, because we know if you buy it'll inevitably go the opposite way if we've come to find out. It's quite a funny thing. I mean, it's interesting when you watch the inverse James indicator. You just do the opposite, at least in the short interim. Winford, welcome in. To smash the like button on the way in. Absolutely. John Bugathorpe, welcome in. Hey, Tom, great day. Profited on both Axion and Data. Whew. Thanks to you guys in the Telegram. Or thanks to the guys in the Telegram. Yeah, it's a beautiful community. A lot of helpful hands in the Telegram. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Burn says, I have old school generator, but Generac makes natural gas generator automatically starts when power goes out. Yep. I considered it. I ended up buying something today, actually. Something that somebody in my community actually had on a nice little setup. And I bought one today. It'll be here in like a week or two. So, I won't have to worry about the power outages as much. But I definitely had thought about the Generac. I thought about it. Now, there's some, sometimes when you get companies like that, and like, because my house was built in the 50s, they try to, you know, let's just say they try to over expense things. And some companies don't. So I don't know how it would have went with Generac. I'm still considering them, but at least for the interim, this thing costs like, it was on, you know, right now you get deals and stuff because they come out with different things, but it's like after tax, it's almost $1,500. You also get a 400 kilowatt panel too to charge it as solar. You can charge it inside too, but it runs a lot of stuff. It's pretty. I like it. JUK, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. But Burn, the way you have it set up is fantastic. That's the way to do it. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor, Jay. From JUK41. Love it. It's nice seeing you in here a lot here, too. Really is. Scotty, welcome in. Scotty Trades. How the heck do I find the Telegram? You know what? I'll make that nice and easy for you. Telegram. Here. Add member. Invite group. Copy. I'll make it nice and easy for everybody. How about that? If you want to join the top, I'm telling you guys, it's not just me. It took me 3 years to build this thing the way I wanted, including turning it off for 2 years and kicking people out one by one and inviting people back one by one until one glorious day. Yes, it's the Delta plus. It's the Delta 2 or maxed. Yeah, it's the Delta 2 maxed. And I got the one with the, I added the 400 kilowatt solar panel just so I could do it myself too. But yeah, that's the one I got. That's the one I got. But yeah, here. That's the Telegram. Let me pin that. And then get this screen off. All right. So yeah, that's, and then in the Telegram, guys, it's not just me. I try to say this all the time. Look at all this. Well, obviously you can see my comments that are in the other color. But look at all the stuff everybody says in between too. Like there's so much stuff. It's not, I try to tell everybody, yeah, I talk and I try to be present, but there's so much stuff that goes on, like so much stuff that goes on. And it's just, and then like if you're worried that YouTube, and this is all like the last 2 days, let's just get into this. Is all today. Look at all this. So, and then we just have a lot of stuff. But if you're worried about not getting my content because YouTube doesn't share it, there's a section with just the content links too. You know, there's sections for everything. If you're looking for the exchanges, they're on there too. The ones that I use, there's just everything. There's just, I don't crowd it up on YouTube, but I still see a scenario here, even without volume. Let's just say Bitcoin gets up here and these short-term holds happen. Okay? I still see a test up because if we do break out here, this is what me and Nick have kind of been going back and forth about, talking in the Telegram about. The way it's set up, it's like we're just waiting either for a surge of volume, which is what I would like to see. You know, I would like to see that for the things I already own. But at the same token of breath, I would like to still see the markets go upside down, and I could employ some of my liquid capital in a area that I predetermine. Like Nick knows, like even if it never hits, you stay happy with what you have from prior bear markets. And then if it starts to come down on corrections on different things in the areas that you never thought possible, but it looks like it on the chart, and you have to be patient, you don't backpedal. Like for me, I've got XRP, I've got a few, you know, it's just a couple different things right now. Not a ton, just a couple. Oh, my mom is calling. Hold on. Hi, Mom. You have impeccable timing. I'm doing my live. Just come over in the morning. Because Julie was saying about... What was that? You got what? Yeah, that's fine. Oh, we'll just wait for you to get here. Just come over when you're ready. Take Grandpa. Yes, take Grandpa. We'll go whenever you get here. It's not a big deal. Oh yeah, it'll be nice. He's doing good. He had a good time at his elementary in his speech. Yeah, he was at the school. Getting his feeding. I will. Yep. I love you too, Mom. Bye. Okay. So, as you guys know, I always answer the phone if I get a call from my parents because we're all getting older and, you know, one day I won't be able to take that call anymore. And as some of you have told me, you better take that call because I wish I could. Let's see. God, it's so fucking weird here. I mean, look. How often would you say as a holder of XRP, if you are one, having this kind of a breakout with a back test, you'd be saying, okay, when's the next domino going to drop? Because this doesn't seem right. Because we've all been trained as XRP holders to look at this and say, every time something good really happens for XRP, it's precipitated by something like this. Look at all that volume. The next time up, you're like, something was missing there. Then it came here, and you're like, then you're like, what the hell? And now you're sitting here saying, all right, well, we're back testing the breakout. And then you're like, well, you know, where's my microscope? You know, where's my magnifying glass? I need my magnifying glass to see this volume. So when you got to pull out a magnifying glass to see the volume, it's either we're just waiting for that surge that is inevitably coming, which I'm hoping is, because like I keep saying, as a holder of XRP, I am not going to get mad if it breaks out here in the least. I would actually be very, very happy. It's just, let me ask you a question. This is my question. If you weren't holding XRP, would you buy 10,000 tokens and buy $22,000 worth of XRP? Or, and I'm just asking a hypothetical here. And no means am I telling you one thing or the other. Or would you take $22,000 and buy 0.05, and we'll call it 0.059? Would you buy 372,881 XDC? Would you buy 122,000? Oh, that's an interesting number for algo. Would you buy 2.8 million DGB, or roughly 3 million? Would you buy, which other ones? Oh, and this is, and I'm doing this as a take it one or leave one, because this would be XRP, right? So we're just making the equivalent. I'm not saying you're breaking it up into a bunch of things. I'm saying it's either XRP or something else in its place. And the whole basis of me asking that question is because XRP is already up like 6-7x right now, as the other ones I'm telling you about are at essentially all-time lows since they actually had their first significant rally. And then like algo is at 18 cents, under 18 cents, and you know where it was at in the biggest of its bull markets. Or, and I want to do this with a couple others because I think it's a real question for where we're heading here. I think it's a real question. Because sometimes it's good to get away from the norm, right? So 0.243, we'll call it. Would you rather have 90,500 XLM? Would you rather have 139,000 H bar? Would you rather have 186,000? Oh, no. Sorry. 1.22 million. Well, it's less than that. It's less the price. 1.8 million ZIL, but that's not a big one. So like, or IOTA. Would you like to have 120,000 plus IOTA? Some like XCN. So would you buy, and here's the thing, would you buy XRP right now? Or if you're a fan of like XCN, would you buy 1.37 million of those? You know, that's the question. Like, to me, the big question would be, forget all of that, because XRP has to be defined within 5 different tokens if you're looking to buy it. 1, XDC. So it's either you're buying XRP, the 10,000 tokens for about 22 grand, or would you buy, what is it? We'll just say at 0.59, 372,000 XDC. You know, this is my thing. Like, I don't think, and you guys, well, Nick, if you have BITUNIX, you could get IOTA in the futures at 1x. You can also get IOTA on BLOFIN, but I don't like, I like to keep it on BITUNIX if I'm trading just because it's simpler. And like, I get uncomfortable on different things, and like where I kept my DGB on the wallet, I'm so glad that I sold when I did, because I got a thing. So I don't know if it particularly affected the DGP part of the wallet, but there's just the way that transactions were moving and stuff. It's interesting what's been going on. So, but it's like, what would you rather have? So it's me, XRP, XLM, XDC are a bunch. And I've always told everybody, you don't need to buy everybody. Oh yeah, XRP healthcare, but that's kind of different though. I think XRP healthcare needs to be held separate, but okay, just for purposes, and I think it's not exactly in the spot. See, that's the thing. Oh, well, it's down 16% now. Okay. Okay, now we're getting close. Okay, it is a good one to ask. Would you buy 440,000 XRP healthcare? You know, but right now I think that'd be scary because it's at 0.05. I don't know. You could not convince me, and I'm the XRP future millionaire, to drop 22,000 on XRP, knowing that we were buying it at $3,500 for the same amount of tokens, as to where when we were buying our $3,500 worth of XRP, algo was still like $8,000 to buy the same amount, and now it's worth $1,800. You see what it's worth $18,000 to get the 10,000. It's not 8,000, it's 1,800. Yeah, you see what I'm saying here? Or to get the XDC. XDC was way up, and now it's only at 5 point. So it's like, you know, I think, me personally, the more I think about this, I think what I would do, instead of putting 20, and you know, I often consider this, as the XRP future millionaire, would it be slander to take my so many holdings of XRP, flip it into XDC? In my heart, I know that I could get a 3x out of it before XRP, or it'll X more times than XRP. So couldn't I, in theory, take one of those X's, or 2 or 3 of them, and do the same thing I do with XR or with gold and silver? Because on gold and silver, when the silver ratio gets out of whack, you'll buy silver to flip it into gold, right? Remember with the XRP Bitcoin, the pairing? Remember when it was out of whack, I started buying XRP to flip it back into Bitcoin, to flip it back into the actual US dollar, which you didn't have to do every step if you're on the right exchange, but you get what I'm saying. Because the ratios were out of whack. Wouldn't you say, and I'm going to watch this now, god darn it, if I can find it. Is there an XDC XRP pair? This is what I'm talking about. We're going to go next level. Fuck it. We're going to the next level. Look at this versus XRP. Isn't this verse, is this verse, what the hell is this? Is this verse XRP? I need to see what this says. Am I reading that right? Is that the pairing? Come on, you guys got to help me. I'm frying my own brain here. Is this a pairing of XRP paired against, or XDC paired against XRP? It's got to be. It's got to be. My audience is very smart. They're going to know. Why would they know? Because they're going to know. I know you're going to know, so please don't make me look like an idiot. I think this is one of the pairings I can actually use. So, Nick, my question is, with what we know about charting, if you're reading this, would you buy XRP? I mean, in the short term, it looks like this is going to hell, right? Look at that. Look how far this is down when you put it against XRP. Oh, yeah, that's absolutely what I'm saying with XRP. In terms of multiples, at 35 cents, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying if you hold it from there, you should trade it. But what I am saying, if we were fortunate enough to go from 3,500 to 22,000 while XDC at the same time, and just hear me out, at the same time, XDC went from when XRP was where it was at, right? We jumped November 2.6. It went all the way up to 16. And when we consolidated all the way through here, when we were in the last market cycle, we were at 19.6, right? In 21. XRP was at $1.98 in that same cycle. Just hear me out. It took XDC a little longer, but just hear me out. We come all the way back around. Currently, XDC sitting at 5.8 cents. XRP sitting at close to $2.20 over the cycle in 21, which means just to get back to the old cycle from here, XDC has 222%. Why does this 222 keep coming up with XDC? So, just to get up there, but now to put it in terms of how XRP is about, you know, so you're talking about maybe XDC is a 300% move, but on the breakout, when this eventually breaks out from where we're at right now, it's 400% to get to 30%, but I don't even think we're close to where XDC goes. And I'm not saying to buy it now because I think this whole thing is built on a, like I told my audience, this feels like our house is built on quicksand. Crypto's house is built on quicksand right now. And I'm not going to get into a house where it's built on quicksand. But I'm telling you right now, you might be hearing some forward thinking out of me of what I might be thinking in my head ulteriorly. And it's either going to be one of the smartest decisions of not employing additional capital in one direction. But I really think this next time around, I'm not splitting it up into 15 tokens. I'm splitting it up into one, well, maybe two, severely undervalued, and XDC is at the top of my list. And I know you guys know the other one. It's right below it, ironically. But the XDC to XRP inverted look, I think, is what we need to be paying attention to. And I'm going to put it here with XDC. What can I take off this list? Can't touch my miners. I think they did. I'll take LES off for now, but I'll put it back. I'll try to figure out how to put it back. But for purposes of this discussion, I think this is very important because I think, and this might make people leave, but we're trying to look at different things. So if we look at the XDC XRP pairing, it speaks something. Why is there only one that has it? So you can only do it on BitTrue? Wow. And like, I'm looking for opportunity, and like, eventually, and I do think I see, I still see XDC coming down towards, and its real price action 3 cents. And I think that's why this is speaking on such a dive towards XRP right now. Because XRP was going up, but still, there's no volume. I still think we've probably got another leg. I still can't get over the fact I think we have another leg down. And the reason why we went up today, and here's what happened. So a couple days ago, and this is just a small joke, so if you like BCB or blockchain backer, fucking go smoke a joint if you can't laugh. Few people came in a few days ago when we had gotten down to 99K, and I was saying, well, this is probably, and I closed my shorts. I said, this is probably where we go back up and back test. And there was a few layers, 102,800, all the way back up. It's like 111,000 or 110. I think we could go as high as, maybe a little higher. Maybe it might even be 114. But there's a bunch of people that came in, and a few said they shorted because blockchain backers said that it was going to go down here and it wasn't going to go back up now. It was going to go to 92,000 area or whatever to fill that gap. And we all started laughing and somebody's like, oh, well, he's 90% wrong and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, that's what I mean. Like, people tell you it's going to go to one place. Is where I've been saying the FVG, but I've also been saying, yes, even though that's what I think is going to happen, look at all these back tests and all this other stuff that has to happen. So we unequivocally knew we made the right decision selling out of the short with our profit because we had a good short. I had like a 78 and 400 and something percent short that I shared in the Telegram. At least I showed the other one, but I showed the 78% one in here, the lower leverage one. But it's like you start watching the narrative and it's happening again. I see so many people that are crying wolf right now, acting like this market can't go anywhere but up to 200 million. And I do believe they're going to pump it up somehow, some way. But I don't know if volume, if it comes up like I thought it was going to pump after it came down here. Because it built an inverse pattern. And we're like, this is where it's going to have to retest these drop points. And right now, I'm looking at it saying, you know what smells wrong is the fact on this whole pushback up, I don't see any volume. Like, say what you will. I mean, I would have to pull out my literal magnifying glass to see the volume. And I understand that it looks like it's going to break out. I do. But it's an uneasy feeling for me right now that, you know, and I think if you're looking at the rising wedge, it actually set it up for us. Now, look at that. I think that actually, if you just put it to where it was at, we're tapering in. And that's why I keep saying, if we come up here and finish this without getting the proper back test and we end up coming up to 114 or overshoot and finish this pattern, it's going to spell a quick end to this pattern very quickly. And then we might be in a multi-year bear market. And I don't want that to happen. What I want is before they cut rates again, I want this market to dive down to some of these fucking gaps, excuse my French. I want XRP to fill this stupid gap that's looming. I want Bitcoin now, before it goes up any farther, at least give us the gratitude to fill that 106K. Like, are you really going to leave that open at 106 after leaving the one at 91.8? Like, are we real? I don't want to leave that. At least give me some hope that if we run out of here, we don't have to come back to at least 106. You know? And now it's almost becoming too easy on the weekends. If there's a CME gap on the future Chicago Mercantile Exchange left on Friday, and it's at, let's say, 103,800 like last weekend, and oh, I don't know, it goes down to 98,900 during the weekend, and then look what happens. We come back up by the time Monday starts in the early week to fill that gap back up. There was the weekend gap that was left. Now, it doesn't always happen because look at all the ones that have been left. But it's almost becoming 9 times out of 10 we can make money on the weekend just by seeing one way or the other which way it goes on. And this is what we're going to start doing. I'm dead serious. If you watch on the weekends, we're going to dictate what we think is going to happen when the Chicago Mercantile Exchange opens on Monday. And if we get an opposite move, then we should. And it's not close enough, we know there's a gap. Now, if it overruns on us, then we're screwed because that's some of the ways you get liquidated. But I think we're going to play with that, especially if it goes down and it needs to go up, whether it's from a spot, a small leverage, a long, I don't give a shit. But I think, and we've been doing this more and more heading into weekends, 106,000 right now on Bitcoin is a looming gap, right around 106. It's a little higher, but it's closing in on 106 in my opinion, is the closest one now if we're looking for a bigger push out. The other thing that's alarming right now is look at Ethereum, please. Like, with Bitcoin being up, Ethereum is still not pulling volume. They can say all they want about institutions. I am not seeing it. You know, I'm not seeing it. I see volume. But, again, at least in Ethereum, you can see in the all-time, you can see that there was volume coming in at least for a few weeks. But these last couple weeks, especially this bounce back this week, let's not act like this was anything special. On these big weeks, there was like 59 million. And that's not even, to me, I mean, okay, 59 million Ethereum, that's one thing. But now on this week, I mean, we've got, what? How many days do we have left? We're midweek. So if you double that, we'd have 42. Still not looking like a particularly strong candle, but there is some volume coming in on Ethereum. It's just not the right volume so far. But I mean, it's like we said, you can make the case that Ethereum is building something like that rising wedge, as a matter of fact. You know, and whether it is or not, I don't know. It stayed on the bottom side of it. That dot cross seems to be speaking of something, even though it's looming. We're technically on the weekly support right now. but we're at the death cross resistance on the daily. That's why I said it can break out here. Make no mistake about it. This is no man's land, because with just a small bit of like literally that much volume, it'll surge us up about 15-20%, which I'm ready for if it happens. Don't get me wrong, but that's why I'm saying if you're trying to get ready, if you were put in a spot, would you buy XDC or XRP in this situation? If we're just going, would you buy 10,000 XRP? Here, let me put it this way. Would you buy right now 10,000 XRP if you had the money, 378,000 XDC, or 93,000 XLM? Those are your choices. You get 93,000 XLM, 10,000 XRP, or 378,000 XDC. How about that? Yeah, the fair value gap on XRP is at $1.50. I've been talking about it since December. And it's down here. The apex of this pattern is September of 25. So we've got a little ways to go here to get to the end if we're going to ride it out. Now we're on the top side of it right now. You know, it's always alarming to me that so many people say XRP, like, what about XRP at $2.18 is more appealing than XDC at 5.8? I just want to know. I can understand with XLM because it's made by the same, you know, the same similar creator with Jed McCaleb. Yada, yada, you get one. But what did I don't know. I don't get it. Oh. It's not about the tokens, it's about the multiples. Yeah, I think XDC where it's set up. Just think about it. For XRP to do for XDC to get back, let's say to 19 cents, you know, you're talking about a 250% move here. And that's well within where it has to go. You know, and it's easily going to be done at some point here. Not in the near past, we're at 15 cents, remember. So, for XRP to do that same move that XDC can do to 19 cents, you're talking about approaching almost $7. You know, and at that point, I think what would happen is you would see a move by XDC go back up to 15, 17, 19 cents, and we'd be looking at XRP at like $3.30, $3.50, $4. Maybe $5.79 even, and we're looking at 120% gains or 140% gains. As to where we're looking at our counterpart saying, oh, I just made 300% on XDC from the same point. You know. No, you can't only get XDC on Uphold. No. Red Star, no. You can get XDC on many other exchanges. You can get it on BITUNIX now, for one. And that's why I talk about it. XDC is on BITUNIX. And that's why I keep talking about it more. Because when it was only on Uphold, obviously that's the reason I wouldn't do it. But it's on BITUNIX. And I traded it for 2% on 2 different trades. And let me tell you, it was spectacular. Made $460 one trade. And $500 and something the other trade. And the fees... I mean, if I would have done the same amount, it would have cost me like $600-700 each way on Uphold, which makes it not worth it. So it's like I would have broke even. On BITUNIX, it cost me like $110 total in fees, but that's because of the high volatility. And you know, there's not as much traffic with XDC. There's not as many people that are interested. So it was like $55 each way, but you're talking about $20,000, $21,000 each way. So... much needed for someone currently 100% in cash, 16K. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about this for myself too. Because I'm looking at things. I have a lot of capital that I can implore. And when it's time, let's just say I'm trying not to oversimplify this to myself, but I'm trying to keep it simple because I know in my own personal experience what's worked the best. And like data's driving me fucking nuts. Like it's driving me nuts. Because look how it's misleading everybody right now. Look how high it came up. Just to crash back down. Just to bump back up. just to push past down. The reason that's happening is because we haven't had that big tug of volume. But one of these times, if it's not accompanied by volume, what you're going to see is a candle that looks so nice. And then it'll end up pulling all the way through and it'll turn red. And this wick will end up down here around 148. And then it'll be a bona fide reversal. Is what's going to end up happening if we don't pull volume out our ass very quickly on data. It's starting to get to that it's getting to that hyperbolic movement now. And what happens after that is about a 15 to 20% either burst up or down. And in this case, if we don't get volume, it might be hard to push another 20 up. It'll be a lot easier to push 20 to 30 down. I'm really liking talking like this with the audience, to be honest with you. I am. It sure. Either their math sucks or they fall for the dumb prices that these XRP. That is the other question. Are we so over infatuated, some of us, with the over expectation because the channels keep saying 1 million and 250,000? I mean, I'm living in, like I said, I live in reality. And XRP, where I bought it at 34 and 38, has done me unbelievably good. Because the ones at 38 on the XRP Bitcoin pairing are 100% sold. And that was $5,000 worth. And some were sold at just over 2, some were sold just over 3. So, you know, and it made me somewhere around 30,000 on 5,000. So, when you ask me, okay, XRP's done that. Now, if I would have done the same thing with XDC right now, I'd be sitting right now. And I could still sell that $5,000 that I bought for... And let's just do the math real quick. And this is part of what I'm talking about. So $5,000. And you all remember the drop to 38. So I'll just put it at 40 cents. Or 39 point something. Divided by 0.395. So that's 12,658 tokens. 12,658 tokens. Let's just say we get $2.18. That's 27,594 minus the $5,000 investment. That's even now, that would be if I sold it all right now and none over 3. It would have been $22,594 in profit. Now, that same $5,000 on XDC, and it was at about 2.8 cents if I'm not mistaken. And this is the point. And this is why I want to do this and show it as clear as day. As clear as I can. XDC was at, back here, 2.6. And at its lowest, 2.1. We didn't take XRP at its lowest at 28 cents. Okay? We took it up at 38 for a reason. So we're going to take XDC up here right before the bounce point. This is exactly what we did with XRP. You know, at its last bounce down, XRP's last big bounce down, this is XDC's last big, because XRP would have just done this and then it would have steadily went up. But XRP did do 34 and then it did this again and went to 38. XDC did this, went down to 2.0 and then went down to 2.6. So it's not fair to go from 2.0 unless I went from 28 cents. You see what I'm saying? Or at least 34. So we got fair is fair. So right now, you're talking about 122%. 122%. So you're talking about maybe that $5,000. As to where with XRP it was worth still a $22,000 profit, which puts it at about 27,000 and some change. For XDC, you're talking about if you put 5,000 in here before the big push up. Yeah, at one point, it was up here and it was worth 25,000. Now that same amount, if you put 5 grand in, remember XRP still worth 27 total right now, 22 in profit. You're talking about maybe $6,000 in profit right now. You're talking about maybe this is worth 11,000. Let's see. We'll just say 5.9 just to give us some credit, right? So 5,000. We got to figure it out now. 5,000 divided by 0.028. We'll just say we have 178,000 tokens of XDC. 178,000. You can already see where we're going here. Divided by 0.05. What's the price right now? Oh, wait a minute. No, that's not right. That's not right. That doesn't seem right. 0.02. It's only 178,000. Is it really? Okay. So 178,000 times, oops, 0.059. So so look, you've made $5,500. You've made $5,500. So you have $10,500 right now if you traded the same time on XDC as XRP. The difference is XRP's worth 27 right now. Over 27. XDC's worth 10.5. So if you're asking me where the bang for the buck is, you better believe I think it's still there. And it's similar math with DGB, so I don't even need to do it. DGB was at 0.004 and whatever. DGB's actually a slightly better deal if you would have dropped 5 grand in there compared to now. And where the profit margin is. So like, you know, and then you go to some of the other ones where you're like, well, what about Algo? Shit, Algo was way higher than this when we were talking about it. Well, not necessarily. Because when we were buying this, it was at 10 cents on Algo. And I know it for a fact because we did it back. Remember FOMO Fridays, Winning Wednesdays and all that? Then it went back down. So it was about 10.6. Now it's at 18. So it's a slightly better deal even than XDC for potential even. So, but I'm pairing specifically one because I think they're paired together. XRP, XLM, XDC for a reason. There's only 3 that are that similar. So that's what I'm trying to get at with this live. I was trying to push you guys through the bang for the buck. And it's not because I hate XRP or anything like that. Nobody's panicking. I'm just saying. Because I don't see any differential between XDC and XRP. I think they're both equals. And you can throw XLM in there. They just work different portions. XRP's big business. XDC's they're for the smaller guy. They're for retail who are entrepreneurs, so to say. Let's just keep it that way. XLM's for the cross in between. Some big business, some small investors. But the targeted audience is more just a retail person. As where XDC is for that small business, like-minded, entrepreneurial, just a micro cap business. XRP goes for the large cap, if you want to put it that way. So XDC is like a junior miner, as to XRP, you know, is a seasoned veteran. You know, they'd be like the senior miner. So let me get through some of the comments because I seen there was a $2 donation. Thank you so much for that, Red Star. At this point, I think it's more about the volume. I think it's more about the volume. The actual volume. Because without the presence of actual buyers, the price can't possibly continue to move in one direction or the other with the lack of real buying pressure or selling pressure. And right now, it's been a lot easier to entertain the populace to sell because every move up feels like institutions are taking advantage. Like right now I'm looking at Ethereum, like, can we right the ship of this death cross and bring something in to overshoot this, you know? So it's been spectacular spending almost an hour with everybody. I'm going to get going here in a couple minutes. Got to spend some time with my son and Julie. We got some stuff we want to do. We got to get ready for tomorrow because we got a busy day with our son. He's got to get his button changed and, you know, just it's a little bit of stuff to do with him. Things can get a little chaotic, but it's worth every moment. Worth every moment. Where did I see my friend? What was this comment at? Cannabis Podcast, welcome in, and thank you so much for being in Tom's number 3+ month of the XP Meteor. It says smash the like button on the way in and smash the subscribe button on the way out. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Join the other 44,700 subscribers. Mike says, Michael Mellis. Mike Oxmellis says, my wife is out with her boyfriend right now. He's an XRP holder. I'm here for the updates on when I can get a new entry. Thanks, Tom. Thank you, Tom. That's not the first time you said your wife is out with her boyfriend. Let's see what we can do for you. You are in no man's land right now. So if you're looking for a new entry, you're either taking the leap of faith here that XRP can at least, and it's funny because now it's pushing out, but you're looking for it to at least hold this setup, which these always make me feel. Doesn't this make anybody feel a certain kind of way? Like, is it possible with this exhausted wick? Like, are we building some kind of wedge formation? Or is this just, it's just got to melt up? Because I still think 229 backtest is appropriate, even without volume. Hey, what happened to our builder, friends?
He had some problems.
From the storm? So he had issues like us. In different ways. I was just making sure everything was okay. It was a pretty bad storm yesterday. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, that's basically what I got. The only thing is I would be looking for, Mike, if you're looking for an entry, just be damn careful. First, we get over $2.20 and hold. And, oh, man. Yeah, it's no man's land right here. It is legitimate no man's land. We're below the uptrend. We're above the pattern breakout backtest. We don't have a lot of volume. We have fair value gaps below. There is some opportunity for the up if we could just get a push. The way it's looking right now, if I was looking from the outside, I'd say, well, why the hell is it? It can't drop from here. And then knowing that I would open up a long, like, leverage trade here and go, oh, it can't possibly do anything but go up. And then the moment I do that, then it's like, oh, well, remember that inverse pattern that we're going to try to validate, and then it comes back here on this little neckline, and then I'm like, son of a bitch! Even if I am right, then it comes back down there, and then your short looks like, or your long's looking like shit. It comes back down and retests the 200-day because it's only the hourly after all. Because that's what it goes through my head right now, so I think it's no man's land. I think this is bona fide, positively no man's land. Hell, it could even come down to 206 again and sweep there. I do know Bitcoin needs to sweep around 106K if it doesn't want to leave that gap, the most recent gap. So, honestly, right now, it is bona fide no man's land. This is not the spot that I would want to be looking from the outside looking in. But it wouldn't be a bad spot to be looking because look at XDC at 5.8. You know, look at DGB at 0.075. The XDC XRP pairing is going to be my new favorite thing. I'm telling you, right? It's going to be my new favorite thing. Because I am such a fan of XDC. And some of you know how big of a fan I am from a couple years ago when we could not get it anywhere but uphold. And I said, man, if it ever... So, I have a lot of high hopes for it. And the fact that that pairing is down to 0.26, that's pretty low. The last time we were at these levels... Before, I mean, obviously we had a breakout in 25. But the last time before these breakouts we were this low, you're talking about going back. Let's go back before the big breakout here, right? I just want to go back in time to see the last time, you know, when you get past this current consolidation, right? And I'm thinking we might break this all-time low versus XRP in this current position. And I think we could make a run back down maybe to here. And if that's the case, I do think there's a big opportunity coming. And I'm just not sure if it's yet, but look at that. At some point, like it's like at some point we're going to have to cut the shit here. And there's been a lot of progression with partnerships with XDC, which at some point, maybe it's happening now. Maybe this is where the flip is starting to happen, right? It could be. You know, at some point it's going to be starting, and it very well could be on the outside right now. Looking for validation. I think a good validation drop would be down to here. And again, that would make it down probably to that 2.83, 3.2 cent area for XDC again. Let's see. Yes, indeed, DMO. That's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. There are no warnings in the Telegram. Don't ruin this for me and James. Yeah, exactly. There are no warnings. We're a very tight-knit community. The only warning is there's not going to be any warning. If you're a dick, you're gone. That's it. So I encourage you to join. It's turned into something amazing as we're getting closer to 400 members, and it's vetted. So some people come and they don't last very long, and I don't talk about it. I get rid of them quickly. because I can see if somebody's spamming or doesn't believe the same things. You know, it's the proximity mindset. It's the proximity. You want to be in proximity to other people that do what you do so that you can build into what you want. When you're around somebody who is a drinker and partier and all that, you're going to become more of a partier. But what I want are people around me that are completely infatuated with crypto and mining stocks and economics and things like that. They like the charts, but most of all, they want to learn about how to create abundance, not just for themselves, but for others. And we're doing that via crypto, precious metals, and commodities, along with emerging markets. The Emerging Markets Fund had a great day. I was up like $350 or $400 in the emerging markets because the Vanguard Emerging Market went up 2.3%. The Fidelity Emerging Markets Fund went up 2.5%. The Discovery Emerging Market Fund went up 1.89% from Fidelity. And then the other Vanguard Emerging Markets Fund went up almost over 2/3 of 1%. But it was a good day in the emerging markets. And they're finding a stride right now, big time. So, and I do 7,000. I started last year, did my whole allowance this year as well, did it right at the beginning with crypto profits. Look at ICE now, coming below 15. Just doesn't feel right, guys. This doesn't feel right. I'm going to continue to say it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, because I'm not even wrong. If it goes up, we're still talking about that. I'm just saying my own feelings are something's not right here. And sure, we can continue to move up. I understand that because there are higher levels that we can take out. But the higher we go without doing some kind of back testing and proper realigning here, it's going to be tough. The higher we go without any kind of volume, the easier it is to bring it all down with just a little bit of volume, you know? So be cautious, be aware, and I'll catch you guys soon. I really appreciate all of the support. Like Papa Wheelie, thank you for the $2 donation. Also being in Tom's Army for over 6 months as well. Syrian, thank you so much for being in Tom's Army and also being a very trusted mod. Yeah, and Papa Wheelie, I would go back and watch this from the beginning. A lot of useful information. Joseph Euler, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XP Meteor. But yeah, thank you everybody so much. My son's out here. I want